Can you believe that an ordinary horse could be behind such extraordinary events? Its owner found the stable door wide open every morning, the ground outside strangely disturbed, and mysterious sounds echoing through the night. What could be happening? Determined to uncover the truth, they installed a hidden camera in the stable. What the camera captured left everyone speechless. This story isn't just about unusual behavior. It's a powerful testament to animals' incredible instincts and intelligence. The horse's actions carry a profound message that will make you see animals in a new light. What do you think the camera revealed? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you love mysterious and heartwarming stories, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with our most captivating discoveries. Don't miss this mind-blowing video. It might change your thoughts about horses forever. Every morning, the stable doors of the quaint countryside farm on the city outskirts were wide open, revealing a chaotic scene. Horses roaming freely, hay strewn across the yard, and water troughs overturned. Exhausted and frustrated, the owner decided it was time to solve the mystery. Setting up cameras, he had no idea he was about to discover the shocking truth. At dawn, Alani muttered to himself, "The stable doors are open again." He cradled a steaming cup of coffee and made his way to the corral fence, his brow furrowed as he surveyed the scene. As with many mornings over the past few weeks, several horses wandered freely, their hooves leaving scattered tracks across the dusty yard of Peaceful Haven. They trotted carelessly, scattering hay and creating a mess. This wasn't normal. Alani took pride in securely fastening every door each night, a routine perfected over years of diligence. Something about this didn't add up. A seasoned ranch hand with years of experience caring for the Hawthorne family's animals, Alani was no novice to farm life. "It's not the wind. It can't just be an accident," he mused, replaying the scenario. The stable doors were fastened with simple locks, sturdy enough to resist nightly gusts. Something else was at work. Initially, Alani dismissed it, attributing the mystery to mischievous local teens. Perhaps the kids who came for riding lessons were sneaking back at night. But as days turned into weeks and the pattern persisted, it became clear this was no ordinary prank. Morning after morning, Alani found the same chaotic scene of loose horses wandering by the troughs, some grazing lazily on the lawn. Anxiety crept into his chest, tightening with each unexplained incident. The unease grew stronger, gnawing at him, as he wondered what was happening. That morning, seeing Luna, the ebony mare, enthusiastically nosing through a spilled bucket of oats, Alani finally reached his breaking point. He couldn't ignore it any longer. Calling for Henry and Salome Hawthorne, the ranch owners, Alani's voice trembled with frustration. "We need to talk about the stables. Something's not right." As they strolled back toward the house, he could sense their concern. With his graying temples reflecting years of calm leadership, Henry exchanged a knowing glance with Salome. Her lively eyes met his, filled with love for the animals and growing worry. Together they had spent decades building their dream. "What's going on, Alani?" Henry asked, his voice gentle but laced with concern. "For weeks now, I found the stable doors wide open at dawn," Alani explained, his voice tight with the weight of his worry. "It's not just one door, it's several, and the horses are loose. At first I thought I might have been careless, but that's impossible. I check every lock myself." Before turning in for the night, Salome's expression darkened as she folded her arms, her gaze drifting to the yard where a few horses still roamed freely. "Do you think someone's sneaking onto the property at night? Maybe someone from town who wants a closer look at the horses?" Her protective instincts flared, and the thought of an intruder made her uneasy. Alani nodded slowly, his mind racing. "That crossed my mind, but who? No one could get this close without being seen, and why keep coming back night after night for this? It doesn't feel like just a prank." Henry and Salome exchanged a worried glance. They understood the dangers of horses roaming unsupervised. No matter their majesty, a single misstep could lead to injury. Years of patient training have transformed them into the gentle, dependable creatures they are today. One night of chaos could undo all their hard work. "So, what do you suggest, Alani?" Henry asked. Sensing his foreman was already planning his next move, Alani hesitated, clearly unsettled. "We could install some discreet cameras in the stables," he suggested, his voice heavy with determination. "That way we'd know for sure if someone or something is getting in." Salome raised an eyebrow, her concern growing. "Something? What exactly do you mean?" Alani shrugged, his unease evident. "I'm not certain. Maybe an animal. Or one of the mares is somehow opening the doors herself. I know it sounds ridiculous." Henry chuckled softly, a flicker of amusement breaking through his worry. "Don't dismiss it so easily, Salome. Horses can be surprising. If it is Luna or any of them, I'd like to see it with my own eyes." Luna, known for her sharp mind and uncanny cleverness, always kept everyone on their toes. The three of them agreed to set up the cameras that very night. The plan was simple. Position a small camera at each stable door to capture strange movements. By morning, they would have their answers. As the early sunlight barely peeked over the horizon, casting the serene fields in a soft golden glow, Alani strode purposefully toward the shed housing the camera monitor. Despite the peaceful morning, his focus was entirely on the footage he was about to see. His breath hitched, a mix of curiosity and nervous anticipation making his fingers tremble slightly as he powered on the machine. "Let's see who's been messing with my horses," he muttered. The screen flickered to life, and the recording from the previous night began. At first, everything seemed normal. The stables stood motionless in the darkness, shadows hinting at life within. Alani adjusted the volume, and the familiar sound of hooves crunching against straw offered a brief sense of calm. But as the clock on the screen ticked past 3 a.m., something unexpected happened. There, in the dim light, a figure approached Luna's stable door. Alani leaned in closer, eyes narrowing in disbelief. The figure wasn't human, it was Luna herself. Her sleek dark coat shimmered faintly in the sliver of moonlight sneaking through the wooden planks. Alani was stunned. Luna stretched her neck and carefully nudged the latch of her stall with her muzzle, working it with a precision that seemed almost impossible for an animal. She used her teeth, her movements slow but deliberate, as if she had practiced it countless times. "This can't be real," Alani whispered, his face inches from the screen, struggling to process what he was witnessing. Once the latch clicked open, Luna nudged the door and trotted out gracefully. She made her way to another stall, repeating the same deft maneuver to free the next horse. A soft whinny of thanks escaped the newly liberated horse as it joined Luna outside. Within moments, Luna had unlocked the stalls of 3 more horses. The small herd moved toward the paddock with remarkable caution, their footsteps nearly silent, as though they instinctively knew to keep the household undisturbed. It was clear that Luna had taken on the role of leader, guiding her companions with a quiet composure that left Alani utterly amazed. He ran a hand down his face, still staring at the monitor, trying to make sense of it all. "That mare is smarter than half the people I know," he thought, a reluctant grin creeping onto his face. Later that morning, after watching the entire recording, Alani couldn't contain his excitement, and decided to share his discovery with Henry and Salome Hawthorne. He found them in the kitchen, their conversation interrupted by his sudden arrival. Still carrying a mix of disbelief and excitement, Alani recounted the events. "You won't believe this, but Luna's the mastermind," he said, barely suppressing a laugh. "She opened her stall and let out the others too." Henry raised his eyebrows in astonishment, while Salome's expression flickered between amusement and skepticism. "How is that even possible?" Henry asked, scratching his head with a disbelieving smile. "You're saying she used her teeth?" Alani nodded, his grin growing wider. "Exactly. She used her teeth like she knew exactly what she was doing. It's like she enjoyed it." Salome walked to the window, her gaze softening as she looked out at Luna grazing peacefully, seemingly unaware of the conversation about her exploits. "I've always known she was special," Salome murmured, pride and affection shining in her eyes. "But I never imagined anything like this." To Salome, Luna was more than just a horse. She was a companion, perhaps even a kindred spirit. That night, the group decided to turn the cameras back on, eager to see what Luna might do next. As if on cue, close to midnight, the mare began her routine with the same deliberate ease as the night before. She freed herself from her stall, but this time, instead of heading directly outside, she made a beeline for the small shed where the feed was stored. With a gentle push of her nose, the door creaked open. Alani, Henry, and Salome watched in astonishment as Luna carefully tugged out a few bags of feed, distributing the contents to her fellow horses. Salome let out a quiet laugh, her eyes sparkling with amusement as she watched the screen. "She's not just clever," Salome grinned. "She's throwing a party for her friends." Alani and Henry couldn't help but burst into laughter as well, unable to hide their amusement at Luna's antics. The night deepened, and as they watched, they realized there was something truly extraordinary about Luna. Her intelligence and cunning far exceeded their expectations. She had earned their admiration, and in a shared, unspoken understanding, the three of them knew they were witnessing something exceptional. Over the following days, Luna's story took an unexpected turn. Captivated by her skill and ingenuity, Salome decided to film some of her nighttime antics and tricks. Initially, the plan was to share these recordings only with close friends and family who had already heard about the mischievous mare from Peaceful Haven. But one quiet morning, while reviewing an especially amusing clip, an idea struck Salome. Maybe someone else would enjoy Luna's charm, she thought, deciding to upload one of the videos to social media. The selected video featured Luna slipping out of her stall with ease and expertly unlocking the doors of her stablemates, as precise as a seasoned lockpicker. It didn't take long for the video to go viral. Within days, hundreds of people had shared it, and soon the view count soared into the thousands. Comments flooded in, with viewers expressing awe at Luna's intelligence. "That mare is smarter than half of us," one person wrote. "She needs her TV show," joked another. Henry and Salome hadn't anticipated such attention, but it quickly became clear that Luna's fame was snowballing. In the weeks that followed, reporters began to show up at Peaceful Haven, eager to capture a glimpse of the farm's rising star. For the Hawthorne family, it was surreal to see so many strangers peering over their fields with cameras in hand, all drawn to the incredible mare that had captured the world's attention. Luna's celebrity seemed unstoppable. With the influx of visitors, the atmosphere at Peaceful Haven shifted. Alani and Salome soon realized they needed extra help. Though they were proud of Luna's newfound fame, they also wanted to ensure the farm remained peaceful and that all their animals stayed safe. "Alani, we can't manage this on our own," Salome said one afternoon as they watched a growing line of cars parked by the entrance. "There are just too many visitors." Alani nodded, looking equally overwhelmed. "I agree, Salome, and it seems like Luna affectionate the attention. Look at her over there, posing for the cameras." Indeed, Luna was near the fence, her large dark eyes watching the visitors with a curiosity that almost seemed calculated. The Bams hired a few trusted locals to help manage the growing crowds. Some visitors traveled from far-off places just to meet the door-opening mare. Days at Peaceful Haven grew longer, and the farm's routine adjusted to accommodate the steady flow of people and cameras. Despite the commotion, Luna seemed to relish her role as the star. Not only did she willingly show herself, but she sometimes repeated her tricks to the delight of onlookers. When she thought no one was watching, she would sneak over to the feed shed and, with deliberate movements, try to open its door. Whenever it happened, the crowd erupted in applause and amazement, as if witnessing a live performance. Alani and Salome couldn't help but feel a swell of pride for their clever, charismatic mare. Henry, however, viewed the situation with mixed emotions, pride and unease. The farm was enjoying an unexpected boost in income thanks to Luna's fame, but he also felt a growing concern. This is her home, not a tourist attraction, he thought during quiet moments, the weight of the responsibility heavy on his shoulders. He knew they needed to strike a balance for Luna's sake and the well-being of the other horses. One afternoon, as the crowds began to thin, Henry approached Luna, lying on the grass, seemingly tired from a long day of entertaining. Kneeling beside her, he whispered, "Well, Luna, you've become quite the celebrity, haven't you? But don't worry, you'll always be our favorite little troublemaker here at Peaceful Haven." Luna lifted her head as if understanding Henry's words. She gazed at him with a serene, gentle look, almost as if to promise that no matter how much attention she received, she would always remain the clever, spirited mare they had known from the start. Little by little, the Hawthorne family and Alani set boundaries on visitors, limiting the number of people who could come each day. Their goal was to preserve the tranquility of the ranch, a sanctuary where Luna and the other horses could thrive undisturbed by noise and cameras. Soon after the new restrictions were put in place, a few unfamiliar visitors began to appear. Among them, a small group stood out for their peculiar curiosity, particularly their almost obsessive interest in Luna. At first, Alani and Salome thought little of it. Luna had become somewhat of a local celebrity, so it wasn't surprising that some visitors would show heightened interest. But as the days went by, their attention started to feel suspicious. On a quiet afternoon, as Alani guided a small group through the stables, he noticed 3 men subtly slipping away from the tour, making their way toward the section where Luna and the other horses were housed. He watched them closely, sensing something was off in their demeanor. Their questions were unusually specific, almost technical, as if they were not there to simply admire Luna, but were looking for something more. "What time do the stables usually close?" one of them asked, a middle-aged man with a patchy beard and a sharp, calculating gaze. Alani felt a chill run down his spine. Adjusting his hat, he answered carefully, keeping his eyes on the man. "We close at sunset when the light fades. It's for the safety of the horses. We don't want any accidents, especially with all the commotion lately." The men exchanged glances as though calculating something between them. Another one, a younger man with a reserved demeanor, let out a nervous chuckle, attempting to mask his discomfort. "And Luna? Is she always kept here in her stall?" The question hung in the air, making Alani's instincts sharpen. Why so much curiosity about her? He thought, maintaining a neutral expression but internally sensing something was wrong. "Luna is family here at Peaceful Haven," Alani replied steadily, his tone firm and deliberate. "We make sure she's well cared for and safe at all times." Hearing his resolute response, the men quickly shifted the conversation as if realizing Alani wasn't one to be easily swayed. Still, the encounter left him uneasy. That night, back in his small cabin near the stables, Alani sat deep in thought, the events of the day replaying in his mind. Staring out at Peaceful Haven under the moonlight, he couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something was wrong. "Something doesn't sit right," he muttered, a quiet alarm ringing. The men's questions and behavior reminded Alani of stories he'd heard from nearby towns about thefts and shady dealings. Luna's fame had certainly drawn a variety of people to the ranch, but he never imagined it might also attract trouble. The next morning, as he walked with Salome near the paddock, Alani shared his concerns. He recounted the unusual questions and the men's odd demeanor. "Salome, I don't want to sound paranoid, but those men didn't seem like regular tourists. They were asking too much about our schedules, about Luna's location," he said, his brow furrowed. Salome, usually the more optimistic of the two, sighed and nodded slowly. "I understand, Alani. You might be right. The truth is, with so many people visiting, you can't always tell who's here for the horses and who might have other intentions." They walked in silence for a time, the soothing sounds of the horses echoing around them. Finally, Salome spoke up, I think we should increase security for Luna and the other horses. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but we can't take any chances. Maybe we could reinforce the gates or add extra locks." Alani nodded, agreeing with her suggestion. "Yes, and we can check the cameras more frequently just in case there's any suspicious activity at night. It's better to be safe." They decided that for the next few nights, one would stay up to monitor the security cameras and keep a closer watch on the stables. Though they both knew Luna was extraordinary and beloved by many, neither had anticipated that her popularity would demand such precautions. Yet protecting the horses and ensuring the serenity of Peaceful Haven was their top priority. A few peaceful days went by without any sign of those men or any other suspicious visitors, and gradually, life on the farm returned to its usual rhythm. Still, Alani remained vigilant, unwilling to let his guard down. Deep in his heart, an unease lingered, a persistent shadow that refused to lift. That night, it was Alani's turn to take the night watch at Peaceful Haven. The day had been grueling, packed with tasks that left him drained. Determined to stay awake and monitor the cameras, he settled into a chair, his eyes fixed on the glowing screens. But exhaustion crept up on him, and before he realized it, sleep had claimed him. His eyelids grew heavy, and soon he was lost in a deep, uninterrupted slumber. As the silent night wore on, at dawn, the restless neighing of horses jolted him awake. Disoriented and groggy, it took him a few seconds to get his bearings. When his eyes darted to the camera feeds, his stomach dropped. The screen showed nothing but emptiness. "Henry, are the horses still there?" he muttered as panic began to rise. Alani dashed out of the surveillance room and sprinted toward the stables. When he arrived, his worst fears were confirmed. Several stall doors stood ajar, and the horses, most devastatingly Luna, the pride of Peaceful Haven, were gone. The latches on the doors were broken, their locks violently forced open. No doubt someone had broken in during the night and stolen the animals. Chaos erupted across the farm as Alani, Henry, and Salome scrambled to make sense of what had happened. The alarming news spread quickly, and the staff joined the frantic search. The search continued, combing every corner of the property in the desperate hope of finding the missing horses. But after hours of searching, it became painfully clear this was no accident. The horses had been stolen. Henry, his face lined with worry, approached Alani. "Did you see anything? Did the cameras catch anything?" he asked, his voice laced with concern. Alani shook his head. Shame and frustration etched into his expression. "I'll check right now, Henry. We must have recorded something," he said, but his voice faltered, heavy with guilt. He knew he'd fallen asleep, and he silently berated himself for letting his guard down when it mattered most. Without wasting any time, Alani and Salome contacted the local police, providing every detail they could. They also issued alerts to neighboring farms, requesting assistance in tracking the van and the stolen horses. The hours that followed were fraught with tension. As the sun climbed higher, the farm was steeped in a heavy, anxious silence. Henry stayed busy tending to the few remaining horses, his movements purposeful, but his worry was evident. Salome, unable to sit still, stayed close to Alani, waiting for any updates. Shortly after noon, Alani's phone buzzed. The caller was the manager of a farm a few miles away. "Alani, I think we might have seen something," the man said. "A black van passed by here at sunrise towing a trailer. It looked like there were horses inside." Alani exchanged a quick, urgent look with Salome. Hope sparked in his eyes. "Thank you," he said, his voice steady but filled with urgency. "Please share every detail with the police." With this new lead, hope surged through Peaceful Haven. Every piece of information brought them closer to recovering Luna and the other horses. Alani, Salome, and the rest of the farm's team felt a renewed determination. They weren't backing down until Luna and the others were safely home. In the blink of an eye, alongside the officers, they headed toward the specified address, a secluded ranch on the outskirts of town. The ride was tense, the air thick with worry. No one spoke, each person lost in their thoughts, repeating the same mantra. This is our one chance to bring back Luna and the others. The ranch where the animals were being held was a shabby, neglected stable behind a dusty house. From a distance, Alani spotted a couple of figures loitering near the stable entrance, clearly acting as guards. His heart pounded at the thought of Luna and the other horses trapped inside. Upon arrival, the police officers took the lead, ensuring everything was under control. But before allowing Alani and Salome to follow, Alani clenched his fists. A mix of fear and resolve flashed in his eyes. He thought to himself that he wouldn't hurt them, but these men would soon learn that they couldn't mess with Peaceful Haven. After a tense exchange with the guards, the officers managed to open the stable doors. As soon as they creaked open, Alani and Salome rushed inside. There they were, Luna and the other horses. They were alive, though a bit worse for wear. Their coats were dirtied, and their eyes carried a weary look. But relief washed over Alani when he saw them standing. As soon as Luna spotted him, she lifted her head and let out a soft whinny, recognizing her caretaker instantly. Overcome with emotion, Alani approached her, gently stroking her neck. "You're safe now, Luna. We're going home, girl," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Luna nuzzled her head against his shoulder, her trust in him clear. One by one, the horses were untethered and led out of the stable, and the tears of relief flowed freely. Salome couldn't hold back tears of relief, her heart swelling with emotion as she looked at the horses. Though the fear of losing them lingered, the thought of their return to Peaceful Haven filled her with peace and comfort. One of the ranch's occupants tried to justify himself to the police, claiming he had no idea the horses were stolen. He insisted someone had sold them to him for a bargain, and he had bought them without question. Alani stood by, reins in hand, his face a mask of disbelief, letting the officers handle the legalities. For him and Salome, nothing mattered more than getting the horses home. After what felt like endless paperwork, they were finally free to leave the ranch. As they made their way back, the setting sun painted the sky with hues of orange and purple. Alani glanced at Luna, walking steadily beside him. Her calm demeanor suggested she understood she was heading home. When they arrived at Peaceful Haven, relief and happiness washed over them. Workers and neighbors had gathered to welcome them back. News of the horses' disappearance had spread quickly, and the community had come together to help. As the horses were guided back to their familiar stalls, smiles and relieved cheers echoed through the air. "It's so good to have them back," one of the workers exclaimed, clapping enthusiastically as Alani and Salome returned Luna to her stall. "It's a miracle they were found so quickly," a neighbor murmured to Henry, whose glistening eyes betrayed his gratitude. Alani stayed by Luna's side, watching as she explored her stall, moving slowly, reacquainting herself with every corner and familiar scent. It was as if she understood that Peaceful Haven was more than just a place, it was home, a sanctuary. After a moment of silence, Henry addressed the gathered crowd. "We can't thank you enough for your support. Thanks to all of you, Peaceful Haven remains the haven we've always strived to build for our animals." That evening, with the farm finally quiet and the horses safe, peace and happiness filled the air once more. Alani and Salome sat together, reflecting on everything that had transpired. Both knew they had to take extra precautions to prevent such an ordeal from happening again. Peaceful Haven had always been open and welcoming, but this experience had taught them a harsh reality. Not everyone shared their respect and love for animals. The next morning, the memory of their ordeal still fresh, Henry and Salome called a meeting with Alani and the rest of the staff. Protecting the horses, especially Luna, had become a top priority. Measures had to be established, and everyone had to be prepared. Though Peaceful Haven remained a warm and friendly farm, recent events showed them that even the most peaceful places needed to defend themselves from those who lacked the same regard for life. Alani stood with a serious expression, his hands buried deep in his pockets, listening intently as Henry outlined the plan. The atmosphere was calm, but charged with a shared sense of determination that echoed in the attentive silence. Henry explained that starting immediately, they would limit daily visitors and enforce stricter security measures. "We're going to protect this place and our animals with all our hearts, but we'll also be smart about it," Henry declared firmly. They had also decided to install reinforced locking systems for the stables. Salome, always deeply concerned about Luna, couldn't shake the feeling that these changes were not just necessary, but urgent. Luna had become a local celebrity, drawing not only admirers but also unwanted attention. That same afternoon, as workers busily installed the new locks, Salome and Alani walked to Luna's stall. The mare watched them with curiosity, her large eyes tracking the tools and movements of the men working nearby. It was almost as if Luna sensed the shift in the atmosphere at Serenity Pastures. "You won't like it at first, girl," Salome murmured, running her hand gently through Luna's silky mane. "But this is for your good. I won't let you go through something like that again." Luna let out a soft snort, as though she understood her caretaker's words. Standing to the side, Alani couldn't help but smile, watching the special bond Salome shared with the horse. To both of them, Luna was more than just an animal. She was a companion, and in many ways, the heart and soul of Serenity Pastures. As days went by, Luna and the other horses slowly adjusted to the new security systems. Though she initially tried to manipulate the locks the way she had in the past, Luna soon realized her tricks no longer worked. Alani and Salome occasionally watched her testing the locks with her muzzle, only for Luna to resign herself with a calm acceptance. It was as if she understood that these barriers were there to keep her safe. The tale of Serenity Pastures and Luna's daring escape continued to captivate the local community. Soon, the farm began receiving invitations to speak at events and participate in local gatherings. Henry and Salome chose to seize these opportunities not for fame, but to educate others on the importance of protecting animals. They organized small gatherings at Serenity Pastures, inviting families, children, and animal enthusiasts to meet Luna and hear her story. During these visits, Alani and Salome shared how the farm had adapted and how, thanks to Luna, they had learned valuable lessons about safety and respect for life. Luna inevitably became the center of attention, and children gazed at her with wide-eyed wonder. While adults listened intently to the story of the escape artist, imagining her incredible adventure, Luna, with her calm yet curious demeanor, seemed to bask in the admiration. She frequently approached visitors, nudging them for pats or the occasional slice of apple. "It's amazing how much she understands," one visitor remarked, marveling at Luna's interactions with the children. "She seems to know how special she is." Salome agreed with a warm smile. "She's more than special," she said. "She's taught us to be more careful, more responsible. Sometimes I think she looks out for us more than we look out for her." The events attracted an ever-growing crowd, transforming Serenity Pastures into a cherished community landmark. It was no longer just a horse farm, but a symbol of protection, learning, and dedication to animal welfare. Seeing the impact Luna and the farm had on people, Henry decided to reach out to local authorities. His goal was to collaborate on raising awareness about farm safety and animal protection, ensuring that their story would inspire others to create safer, more compassionate spaces for all creatures. Through collaboration, they established informational campaigns and safety measures that helped other farms avoid similar incidents. Over time, Peaceful Haven regained its usual calm. Days began and ended with the soft rustle of the meadow's breeze and the rhythmic sound of hooves as the horses trotted in their carefully managed freedom. The presence of Luna and her equine companions brought a new life to the ranch, a life that felt even more profound after everything they had endured. Luna, the clever mare who had stirred up so much commotion, had adjusted to the new security protocols. At first, she eyed the reinforced locks with suspicion, her sharp instincts betraying a hint of unease. But now, she seemed to embrace the changes with quiet acceptance, as though she understood that Peaceful Haven was not just her sanctuary, but a haven for all her stablemates. While Luna retained her playful and mischievous nature, her antics were now always under the watchful eyes of Alani and Salome. To them, she wasn't just another horse. She had become the embodiment of what Peaceful Haven stood for. On a brisk Sunday morning, as the sun's first golden rays spilled across the rolling hills, Alani wandered through the barn, his pace leisurely and unhurried. Every corner of the barn whispered to him with the comforting warmth of home. His gaze lingered on every horse with deep affection. When he reached Luna, she greeted him with a gentle nudge to his shoulder. A tender gesture he returned with a warm smile. "Good morning, my friend," he said, stroking her neck affectionately. Luna let out a soft snort, shaking her head as if answering his question. Alani chuckled. He felt that everything at Peaceful Haven was exactly as it should be. The journey had been long, filled with trials and hard-learned lessons, but the ranch had emerged stronger and more united than ever. As the days passed, Salome and Henry also noticed the transformation Peaceful Haven had undergone. It had evolved from being merely a place where horses were cared for into a symbol of protection and respect for animals. Visitors, though now fewer in number, arrived with a sense of admiration and gratitude, inspired by Luna's story and the Hawthorne family's relentless dedication to maintaining the ranch's harmony. One evening, as they gazed at the horizon from their porch, Henry opened up to Salome, sharing his thoughts. "You know," he began, his voice thoughtful, "I never imagined Peaceful Haven would become something so special. At first, we just wanted a place to care for horses and enjoy the countryside. But now it feels like we're part of something much bigger." Salome turned to him with a gentle smile. "You're right, Henry, and I think Luna taught us all how important it is to protect what we love. She and the other horses have given us more than companionship. They've given us a sense of purpose." They sat in silence, their eyes fixed on the distant silhouettes of Luna and her herd grazing against the backdrop of the setting sun. In that quiet moment, the essence of Peaceful Haven seemed to crystallize, a place where animals were cherished, respected, and safeguarded. Over time, Luna's story and that of Peaceful Haven became a local legend. People often spoke of Luna, the mare who had once escaped her stable, inspiring an entire community and bringing tranquility to this corner of the countryside. Children visiting the ranch would listen wide-eyed as Salome recounted tales of Luna's bravery, often leaving with dreams of one day having their sanctuary where they could care for animals. Life at Peaceful Haven continued with its serene days and peaceful nights, yet something had shifted in everyone's hearts. Alani, who had always felt a special bond with the horses, now seemed even more devoted to their care. Every day he found quiet moments with Luna, gently brushing her mane and speaking to her in hushed tones, as if bound by an unspoken connection. One night, as the stars began to twinkle in the vast sky, Alani sat near the barn, gazing toward the mountains. From her stall, Luna peered out, her eyes fixed on him. Feeling her gaze, Alani smiled softly. "Thank you, Luna," he said, his voice filled with quiet emotion. "Thank you for reminding us what it truly means to care and to love." Luna gazed back at Alani with her deep, dark eyes, and once again he felt that their bond went far beyond words. Peaceful Haven was a place where humans and animals shared a connection that transcended the ordinary, and Luna embodied the essence of that bond. This sanctuary remained a haven of peace and protection, a refuge for those in search of tranquility and for those who believed in showing profound respect for all forms of life. Luna, the mare who had transformed the destiny of the farm, continued to graze freely and safely in the meadows, secure in the knowledge that she would always have a place where she could simply be herself, surrounded by those who cherished her. With each passing day, Peaceful Haven reaffirmed its commitment to being a beacon of hope and kindness, in a world that sometimes seemed to have forgotten the importance of these values. The story of Peaceful Haven and its protagonist Luna is filled with profound lessons and heartfelt moments, illustrating the extraordinary connection between humans and animals. Through the experiences of Luna, an exceptionally intelligent and playful mare, we are drawn into a world where animals have distinct personalities, dreams, and an intelligence we often overlook. Luna not only captivated her caretakers with her mischievous antics, like her knack for opening gates, but she also earned their respect and love, becoming the heart and soul of the farm. Her journey from her peaceful life in the stable to the harrowing ordeal of being stolen and eventually rescued serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the need to protect the creatures that depend on us. The caretakers of Peaceful Haven, particularly Alani and Salome, undergo a profound transformation, evolving from mere caregivers to passionate advocates, ready to do whatever it takes to ensure the well-being of their horses. This story underscores the remarkable ability of animals to impact our lives, not only by providing companionship, but also by teaching us essential values like respect, empathy, and responsibility. Luna inspires everyone at Peaceful Haven to treasure and protect every living being. In the end, Peaceful Haven is more than just a farm. It is a sanctuary of love and peace, a reminder that by caring for and protecting animals, we also become better versions of ourselves. Luna's story invites us to reflect on our connection with the animal world and to cherish the silent bond that has the power to profoundly transform us. If this story moved you, please don't forget to like, share, and comment to let us know how it inspired you. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to the channel. May God bless and guide you in every step of your journey.